Today I'm going to talk about building a character trigger. In my previous videos, I've talked about a character trigger in a high stress situation to allow you to pull that programming that you're putting in your brain and get through a situation in the way that you want to conduct yourself. A character trigger. Here's what I want you to do if you want to follow along. It takes work and it takes effort, but the results are really awesome because you're going to start programming yourself from the inside out. First off, what I want you to do is imagine the best version of yourself. If you were the main character, which you are in your life, and you imagine what you look like, how you walk, how you talk, maybe not how you dress, but how you conduct yourself, how you think, down to the minute detail. Get into the minutia. What you feel. How do you feel about things? Are you abundant? Are you grateful? Are you a negative person? Are you a positive person? Write all that down. Most of the time you're going to find that the qualities that you put down are very good qualities that most of us want to have. And also we want to feel good all the time. So go into great detail about this. Write as much as you want, but keep it on one page. That would be really good. And what I want you to do also is draw a circle and create a symbol. This symbol is something that should not be in your memory already. It should come from your creativity. That way it's new to your brain because you're programming in this character sheet and the symbol at the same time in your brain. And what I want you to do is read over your character sheet. And again, it takes work. It may take an hour of sitting down and really focused thinking to fill out your character sheet. But the benefits are fantastic. So as you read your character sheet, when you begin, I want you to look at your symbol. I want you to take a very deep breath, fill up your lungs, tighten your core muscles and your intrinsic muscles, as in your bathroom muscles. And as you look at that symbol, I want you to hold 3 fingers together and hit a spot on your body 3 times that only you know about. This is beginning to create a character trigger. What I want you to do is read halfway through that script or that character sheet. Look at your symbol again. Take a very deep breath. Tighten all those muscles. Visualize your symbol. Visualize your character. And then hit that character trigger again. 1, 2, 3. Now, I paused. Now read the second half of your character sheet. At the end of your character sheet, look at your symbol again. Visualize your character. Visualize your symbol. Actually draw it in detail in your mind. The best place to draw it is right where the spine meets the bottom part of the brain. While you're tightening your core and holding that breath and visualizing, boom, 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 hit your character trigger. What you're doing is you're enmeshing that symbol. It's the first time you've seen it. And you're enmeshing your symbol and your character sheet together. So they are symbiotic. When you think of the symbol, you think of your character. When you think of your character, you think of the symbol. Now what you're doing also, when you hit that character trigger, you're creating an energetic loop from your brain where the signal begins, through this arm, down to the arm, back up to that spot where it registers at. And what you're doing is you're also identifying this new place on your body, those 3 taps, with the symbol and with the character sheet. And you're also identifying, holding your core tight and taking a deep breath, controlling your breathing in a manner that you're not used to, and tightening that core while your lungs are full, forcing oxygen to the brain. So now you're connecting your symbol, you're connecting your character sheet, you're connecting your character trigger, and you're connecting your breathing. What this will do is, when you think about your symbol, it's easier to control your breathing because you've connected those two together. When you hit your character trigger, because you have created them at the same time, your symbol will populate in your mind. And with the population of your symbol, the information on the character will populate as well. And then your breathing will be connected to that, a good breathing process. And I would suggest doing this once or twice a day. You're programming in that character trigger. You can even add on to your character sheet of how you want to react in different situations. And then you can look at your symbol, take your deep breath, tighten your core, and then hit your character trigger. And you start getting that programmed in. What you can do then in a high stress situation is take that deep breath, tighten your core. When your lungs are full and you're tightening your core, you're forcing oxygen into your system. Hit that character trigger. Your symbol populates, or not populates, but you see your symbol in your mind, and the character sheet populates. And so it's much easier to see this is how this character functions in this period of time, because you have done the programming on how you want to act. It works. Now, if you want to take that a step further, when you have worked on programming in that character trigger, I highly suggest joining a gym and getting on an elliptical machine or a bike or a row machine. Go as hard as you can. This is where you get your programming in. I would say if you can only go for 3 minutes, that's absolutely fine. And as soon as you're tapped out and you're just like, I'm done, this is where you want to hit that character trigger. Do your breath work with it. Breathe in, tighten your core, hit the trigger. You're visualizing your symbol. The character information is populating in your mind. You start thinking about it. And then you go just a little bit further. Because what you did is you hit the limit on your old character physically. And now you're visualizing the new character and you're going a little further. Because that character is able to go further than your old character. And when you start programming that in stressful situations that you're creating, later on when you're in a situation that you feel stressed, you're like, oh, I've already practiced being stressed out, like with my breathing and my muscles and just feeling chaos inside when you're physically exhausted. And I was able to hit my character trigger and move a little bit further or conduct myself in a good manner. And when I say that, let's say you're on the row machine and you're just pooped. You hit your character trigger and you go for 30 more seconds, but you're holding good form. You can do the same thing when you're in a high stress situation. You can hit that character trigger, doing your breath work, doing your visualizing, and you move forwards just a few more minutes because you have practiced controlling your internal functions and focusing on the new character under duress on your own. So you are in a situation that's stressful, but wait, I've already practiced this. Now I'm going to implement it. And this is the way you build your character trigger and you use your character trigger, because your subconscious is your essence or who you are, or your element. Maybe not element, but your spirit. And your brain has a programming of a personality. And this is how you get in, you start programming a new character in. And your subconscious sees it and believes it, because your brain is not who you are. So when your subconscious sees the population of the whole character and how it conducts itself, then you can move further along through a situation with controlled breathing, controlled emotions, and in the manner that you want to conduct yourself. So I'm going to wrap up. I suggest sitting down with pen and paper and just writing down some concepts that you would want as the highest version of yourself. You can take a few days to develop your character. Take a few days to develop the symbol that you want. And then start developing your sheet and how you want it to look. And once you have your symbol and your character sheet, then you can start working on building in that character trigger and doing your breath work. I did this for about, I want to say close to 10 months. I would go until I was absolutely exhausted on a machine, and then I would hit that character trigger with my breath work and visualizing my symbol, and I would go a little further. And finally, I got to the point where I didn't have to hit my character trigger. I would just imagine my symbol, and everything would populate, my breathing would go calm, and everything just goes very copacetic. Because I learned that that character controls itself in chaos very well. So I've been in several situations that were highly stressful, and I was cool as a cucumber. I did my internal work, visualizing, and doing my breath work. 2 years ago, in that same situation, the old character would not have handled it. So I did a test run on myself of this, and it worked quite phenomenally, and it still works. And when you tie those elements together of the tapping, the breath work, the visualizing, and the creativity and the character sheet, that creates a really potent tool to handle stress and program in a new character. And you can take that a step further with reprogramming PTSD triggers and moving those markers. But that's for another video. I hope this helps. Life is an adventure, like legitimately. And when you view yourself as the main character, because the only thing that has changed over thousands of years is how we talk and how we dress and the technology around us. We're still the same human element. That's the same. And you are in an adventure. So when you view life as an adventure and that you can change your character to just absolutely have a blast through that adventure, well, life gets a lot easier. Have you ever seen a movie, an action movie, where it's like just chaos or the high seas and there's this great characters go, ha, 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 just laughing in the face of danger? What I think of is in the end of the first Thor movie. They go to the ice planet and they're going to fight the ice giants, and there's this one guy that's just like digging it and like laughing. Just he gets into these like chaotic like events, and that's just what he laughs about, and that's what he thrives on. And you can reprogram yourself to get into those situations like, ha, I got this. You know, it's like you can write that in your character sheet of every time an interesting situation comes up that is complicated and requires a solution. My character loves this and thrives in it. And when you start programming that in, it truly becomes that way. You get into the hard chaos of what other people would see chaos, and you're just like, ah, yes, right on. This is the next part of my adventure, of my life. And that's how you start dominating and moving through it as the primary character. But the tool of using a character trigger will change your life. Like, no joke, because it's changed my life. The end. Life is an adventure. Become the primary character in your adventure.